I want to start, as always, by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father in the ancient Hebrews, meaning He is to be, He is existence. Yahweh Shai, the name of the only begotten Son in the ancient Hebrew, which means He is salvation, He is the deliverer, right? Bahashem means in the name, and Rakakwadash refers to the Holy Spirit, which leads us in our truth, which meets us in our thoughts if we meditate thereon, and which will ultimately be our comfort and guide through the times of Jacob trouble, which is to come. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone, who teach this truth, who taught me this truth, who lead as examples to the flock. Peace and salutations to the Akim, pushing this word, sincerely for that penny a day, hoping to hear the words, well done, my beloved servant, so we can inherit the kingdom, right? Now, one of the biggest things that we've continually focused on to the point where now we sound like a broken record is the prophecy of the mark of the beast, right? And the development of the digital infrastructure surrounding the implementation of the mark of the beast. We've exhaustively gone through different news updates, different laws being passed, showing you how the system is being built around you. And we do this work so that the elect out there may be fed, may be edified, and so that people don't have an excuse to say that they weren't told that this is happening, right? This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of the ancient and be occupied in prophecies, right? The testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. That's the fundamental, most important thing right now for a prophet to do, to focus on the prophecies. And the two main prophecies that remain are the mark of the beast and World War III, right? And we know that the mandatory implementation of the mark of the beast, which is the implantable RFID microchip, is going to come before World War III. And the scriptures plainly warn you about taking this mark and about the judgment that will come from taking it. So we have to identify what it is the implantable RFID microchip and the framework, the system around it, the digital system around it, which pretty much sits on three pillars: the digital ID, digital currency, which is the CBDC, right? And tokenization, which is the digitization pretty much of physical and abstract assets, like your house, your car, your stocks and bonds, and natural assets as well, right? Like water supply, jungle, right? These different things are all being tokenized and brought onto a unified ledger, what the Bank of International Settlements calls a unified ledger, right? And all that will culminate in an implantable microchip, RFID or NFC microchip being pushed in your hand, right? To allow you to connect to and have access to this digital grid where you will be nothing but a node on a blockchain, right? This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am proved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. Right? For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end shall speak, not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It's going to surely come. Right? And what we're going to focus on in this lesson, right? Salakia for me taking so long to get to the point of it, but we have to bring out these precepts. What we're going to focus on in this lesson is a new act that has been passed last month, because today is the beginning of June, It's June. Ain't no microchip. Anyways, today is the beginning of June, so it was passed last month as an act, and it's called the NaRRA Act, or the National Reconstruction and Resiliency Authority Act. And we're going to get into it, right? So before we get it there, let's also read Luke chapter 21 and verse 34. It says, "And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting, drunkenness, the cares of this life, and that day come upon you unawares." There's so much to take your attention, especially social media. There is so much to take your attention. There's so much to overcharge your mind and keep you droning on, right? There's so much to get you drunk. There's the cares of the life, your worries, your anxieties, your troubles. These things can drown you. And that day come upon you unawares. As the Apostle Tahar keeps saying, you miss a day, you miss a lot. For as a snare shall it come upon all them that dwell upon the face of the whole earth. And one of the reasons why it's going to come as a snare is because of how they employ certain tactics to bring about this system. No, the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, right, assented to in May 2026, meaning it became an act, it became law, serves as a time-bound implementation machine established by the Jamaican government to coordinate and accelerate the country's recovery from the extensive damage caused by Hurricane Melissa, right, which hit the island late October last year, right? Now, this bill is posited, it is pushed as a reconstruction bill, as a reconstruction management bill. That's what it's being publicized as. But there are little things that a lot of people not paying attention to that we're going to bring out. It says, by providing a centralized framework for major infrastructure projects, the act is designed to eliminate the bureaucratic fragmentation and interagency delays that historically impede national development. The government is utilizing this period of crisis, what they call crisis legislation, right? And the powers granted by the NaRRA Act as a strategic lever to force the implementation of a modern digital first style of government, right? So though this is being posited as just reconstruction management to make sure that we can do it quickly, there are things hidden from plain sight or just barely mentioned, right, that is pushing the digital transformation, right? While the act itself focuses on structural reconstruction, it acts as a catalyst for digital transformation in the following ways. Digital governance as a standard. The government views the recovery as a reset moment because that's what the word crisis means, right? It's a turning point, right? Let's get that. All right, let's go to the etymology dictionary and let's look up the word crisis, right? So the word crisis says what? A turning point in a disease, right? That's what it means, right? A turning point in a disease, right? Let's see if there's anything else that I could get from this. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to bring out, right? It's a turning point in a disease. It's that pivot where you say, okay, I'm going to either survive this disease or I'm going to come out stronger, right? So it represents a possible an opportunity, a unique opportunity for change. So that's why it's called here a reset moment, right? Moving away from paper heavy processes toward integrated digital systems. This includes the institutionalization of digital platforms for project management, where a mandatory publicly accessible electronic register provides real time tracking of costs, project status, and accountability, modeled after successful fiscal transparency frameworks, right? Infrastructure for digital inclusion. The reconstruction process is being used to build digital ready infrastructure. As public service hubs and utilities are restored and replaced, they are being configured to support modern digital services, including the expansion of the National Identification System, which is Jamaica's version of the digital ID that's going to be pushed in the UK. right? The government has highlighted that had a robust digital ID system been fully operational during the disaster, the distribution of support to citizens would have been significantly more efficient. Again, using crises as opportunities. Driving Jamdex adoption. The post hurricane environment is being leveraged to push the adoption of Jamaica's central bank digital currency, which is Jamdex, right? Or what's that called again? Jamaica Exchange or something like that? Jamaica Digital Exchange, yeah. To lower barriers to entry, the government is subsidizing the upgrade of point of sale systems for financial institutions, ensuring that the new physical infrastructure built onto NaRRA is equipped to handle digital payments. The goal is to move Jamdex from a pilot to a primary medium for government related commerce, such as social benefit disbursement and large scale public payments. In essence, the NaRRA Act is being used to bypass traditional administrative bottlenecks, creating a forcing function that compels both public agencies and private sector to adopt digital first workflows and tools such as NIDS and Jamdex that were previously stalled by institutional inertia or public skepticism. There is nothing more opportunistic than a crisis to push through changes, right, that would otherwise be slow to adopt. And that's what they're utilizing in this moment, right? So this article here is from the Jamaica Observer, and it was posted May 24th, 2026, right? And it says, after Melissa, Jamaica bets on digital government, right? So there's one part that I wanted to highlight, a couple parts, right? It says the idea behind it is that persons must be able to have one ID to enter any institution and not be asked for three pieces of documents. Right. So I'll post this in the description box so brothers can and sisters can read it. You know, but the idea is that we are now given a golden opportunity. The old west is in shambles. When we build it back, we need to build it back digital first. The Black River that's gonna be built back is not gonna be the same Black River, right? It's not gonna be the same Black River, and that's gonna then be used to push this thing nationwide, right? Nationwide. And then there's another thing that I wanted to bring out. This is from Boma Capital Market, which is helping push CBDCs here in Jamaica. I believe it's a UK company that's been pushed help to push the CBDC here in Jamaica, right? And they said ATM infrastructure modernization strategy, transitioning from cash to digital services. We're completely transforming Jamaica's ATM infrastructure to support CBDC expansion. Our strategy involves converting traditional cash machines into multifunctional digital service points. These upgraded ATMs will handle both physical currency and Jamdex transactions seamlessly, right? We're implementing this transition gradually to ensure minimal disruption to public banking services while maximizing convenience for all users across the island. These things are these, and if you look at it at face value, you say, okay, you'll hear about the NaRRA Act and you'll hear about the fact that it's being used as you know as an act to fast track the reconstruction of hurricane damaged areas. The government just wants to do it as quickly as possible, so they have this act to make sure that they cut through bureaucratic red tape and they can do it as fast as possible. And get money to people as quick as possible. They'll have an online digital register where you can track all the money and all that good stuff. But you don't hear about the fact that at the center of this rebuilding is going to be digital first governance, right? Psalms 140, verse 1. Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man, preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent, others poisons under their lips. One of the brothers said at class, I went through this at class yesterday. One of the brothers said, they're not going to want to have us on the road much longer because we are continually pointing out these things. So as soon as they switch up the strategy a little bit, to try to hide their plans a little bit better. Here we are, shining light on it, because this is another example of them being deceitful. You know, using a seemingly disconnected act to push through their legislation, just like in America with the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, right? So let's go on. Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have purpose to overthrow my goings. The proud of it that snare for me, and cards they have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins on me. Salah. And this is a big digital snare, right? I said unto the Lord, thou art my God, hear the voice of my supplications, O Lord, O God the Lord, the strength of my salvation. Thou hast covered my head in the day of battle. Grant not, O Lord, the desires of the wickedness, further not this wicked device, lest they exalt themselves. And ultimately, the Lord is going to disappoint them. Right? They're not going to be able to achieve their enterprise. Right? And you wicked among our people who have bought into the schemes of the enemy and who have been sold lies and believed those lies, this is what his Lord said. Isaiah 28 and 14. For wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. So the Andrew Holness, and all his cronies and whosoever might. I don't even think there's gonna be another general election in Jamaica before things pop off, because 2030 is right around the corner and we're not due for another election until then, right? So Andrew Holness and your cronies, you scornful men that rule this people. Jerusalem is a people before it's a place, right? And we are those people. Because you have said we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. Yeah, you signed on to. Matter of fact, let's show that. Right? How does this push connect to the UN SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and the ID for the movement? Right, showing you that this is not unique to Jamaica. This is not created by the Jamaican government, right? It says it's explicitly aligned with both the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the Global Identification for Development ID4D movement. In Jamaica, these initiatives are not treated as separate projects. They are integrated into the Vision 2030 Jamaica, right? This is not something that's disconnected from what's happening in the globe, and people are not they're not realizing that these things they seem disjointed if you just zoom in on them, but you have to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, right? The government positions its digital infrastructure investments as fundamental accelerators for several key sustainable development goals, right? Industry innovation and infrastructure, peace, justice, and strong institutions, quality education, partnership for the goals, right? Connection to the ID4D movement. And, you can look up this information. We're tired of bringing it out. We're tired of bringing it out. You can look up this information, right? The Identification for Development movement, spearheaded by the World Bank, advocates for the use of robust digital ID systems to facilitate inclusion, right? Improve public service delivery and enhance transparency. Jamaica's digital strategy aligns with these core tenets, right? So there's so much to see, yo. And then if you ask the question, how does this connect to tokenization and CBDCs and implantable biometric? You see the web. You see the web being formed, right? So they have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Right? And if you jump, verse 17 says, judgment also will I lay to the line, righteousness to the plummet. The hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, the water shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand, right? When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then he shall be trodden down by it. Let's read that in the NLT, right? Let's go down back to that verse. It says, I will test you with the measuring line of justice and the plumb line of righteousness. Since your refuge is made of lies, a hailstorm will knock it down. Since it is made of deception, a flood will sweep it away. I will cancel the bargain you made to cheat death, and I will overcome your deal to dodge the grave. When the terrible enemy sweeps through, you will be trampled to the ground. Again and again will that flood come, morning after morning, day and night, until you are carried away. This message will bring terror to your people. The bed you have made is too short to lie on. The blankets are too narrow to cover you. Right? So again, we hope this was edifying. I hope this was edifying. Until next time, shalom.